the reason why So Brave became something was because, like I said, never set up to set up a charity. And honestly, anybody who wants to, come talk to me before you do it. There's a lot to consider. Um, but I remember being down in Melbourne at this retreat with my kids and my husband, and it was with another organisation, fantastic breast cancer charity called the Otis Foundation. It was set up by a lady called Kerry, who wanted to give retreats for free to women and their families after and during treatment. And it's this amazing experience that, being able to just get away from your normal day to day with your family, and lots of very generous people donating their holiday homes or their second homes so that you can go and enjoy that time away. And I just remember being down there. This would have been August 2015. So I'm about a year and a half out of my diagnosis and, only a little bit beyond my last treatments. And I'm sitting reading the guest book at this place, and I was reading this story by this young man who'd brought his two young children along. And I just couldn't escape the similarities between his experience and what mine could very well have been had I not gone and gotten a second opinion, gone and really kept going with that.
And advocated for yourself.
Yeah, to be able to get the diagnosis and to get through it all. Anyway, so I remember waking up maybe the next day or the day after with this idea of, I'd met a lady called Wendy Fantasia, who's a fabulous body paint artist down in Melbourne, at a conference the week before. And at the conference dinner, she'd offered to body paint me. And I have to say, once you have children, all kinds of glamour about your body kind of leave you. But once you've had breast cancer, that is doubly so. You kind of lose all sense of, you do lose a lot of sense of your body image. And so when she suggested this to me, I was kind of a bit horrified because I had never considered doing anything like that. But it did sort of just play in my mind. And so I remember saying to my husband, I really think I should contact her. Wouldn't it be amazing if we got a whole bunch of young women who'd had breast cancer together, did this body painting? Wouldn't that be incredibly empowering, to put that line in the sand between when they were diagnosed and then hopefully into the future? So I contacted her and I said, how about we do a calendar before the end of the year? And she kind of laughed. And now I really do understand why, because there's so much that goes into being painted, but also putting together all of this collateral to make a calendar. So we're actually in the middle of making our 8th calendar right now.
Oh, that's
so
so
that
cool.
was, yeah. So the first one came out in August 2016. That was our 2017 calendar.
Yeah.
And, we traveled up the Eastern Seaboard then, and we did painting with a whole bunch of young women. And what I kept hearing was their stories of neglect or, disproportionate disadvantage, unmet needs, gaps in the system, not being able to access their diagnosis, and a lot of trauma about that, but also a lot of community around that because we'd all had that shared experience. So come December, I'm meeting with the boys from Orange Sky Laundry. Shout out to Nick, who suggested maybe I contact a pro bono legal service to try and set up my own charity. And so Clayton Utes has been with us ever since, and they set up So Brave within 6 weeks. It was insane. It was like, from having all of that work for probably a good 18 months prior to that, being able to go in and show them footage and photos of what we'd been up to and share story about what people had been through was so effortless being able to have that conversation at that stage. If I'd gone in 18 months prior and said, I've got this great idea and these are all the things we want to do, it wouldn't have had the same impact, I don't think, because you wouldn't have had the visuals behind it. You wouldn't have had all of that information behind it to really show, oh, this is why there's that gap, this is why this needs to be. So yeah, in setting up any kind of charity, you really have to justify the need, because there are like 55,000 charities and not-for-profits in this country, and the Australian Charities and Not-for-Profits Commission, they do keep it quite tight and regulated. So if you want to set up a new one, yeah, you do need to be able to justify, why do you need a new one? Why doesn't it already exist? Why can't you work with a different existing organisation? So yeah, I did consider that a lot myself as well, because I don't like recreating the wheel. And as I said, we'd work with National Breast Cancer Foundation. I'd done some work with McGrath and Breast Cancer Network Australia. But the thing that I kept coming across was this gap in information and community for younger women diagnosed under 40, because Breast Screen, which is a fabulous free service in Australia, is available from age 40. You can go get your mammograms every 2 years. You don't have to go to a GP to get a referral. You just literally make an appointment and go. There was nothing like for younger women. There was no education around breast cancer risk or how to do breast checks. And so younger women were often finding their breast cancers at a later stage, and particularly where they had no family history, which is 9 out of 10 women who are diagnosed don't have a family history. There's a huge shock factor too. They're like, well, how come I didn't know about this? How come someone didn't tell me about this? So I feel that all the stars were aligning, and it just was meant to be. But we definitely do work with the big charities. We definitely, as Kirsten Polati from Breast Cancer Network Australia said, we hold them accountable. What are they doing for younger women within their organisations, and how are they making sure that they are delivering on what they're supposed to be doing as well? And yeah, it is really important, I think, that advocacy piece for us as well. That's sort of really become the underpinning, I think, passion that I have for the organisation, is being able to speak to people in research, people in medical professionals, government representatives, ministers, the like, and explain what I'm hearing and the stories from women from across the country. And yeah, it's not always a positive, pink and fluffy type of an occasion. And I don't think that I've ever really treated breast cancer like that.